Restaurants like Merengue and Pitos and Carmitas, those are spaces where people go to get food, yeah, but that's a space where they have, they trust that person behind that counter, because not only the person behind the counter, but the people who come into that space, that's where stories continue to be shared of their homeland. That's stories that are shared that are happening in the neighborhood where, whether if it's positive or negative, it's like their 411, you know.
Some of the participants were actually related, and I found at one point that there was a young man whose grandfather was part of the conversation, and they were talking, and some of the things that the grandfather said that were very relevant to the conversation and to what we were talking about, it had never occurred to the grandson how special that was, not just to the grandfather, but to the fact that that young man was of Latino heritage. And so those conversations happened, and now the grandson can go back to school or other places that he has young kids and speak with knowledge about his own heritage. I've been doing this project for so long, and it was just a passion, and I was doing it only because I learned something myself, and I was learning every single day. And then someone finally just told me that I needed to kind of bring it together, and I went to Rich, and they gave me my first mini grant. That was about 20 years ago, and I really appreciate how much, not only support, but encouragement, because the fact that you get a letter and a check in the mail, but then when you run into the staff and the board members and they come up and very enthusiastically and with excitement congratulate me and thank me for continuing the work that I do, and that's been very, very rewarding, and I appreciate it. Even going back to when we were preparing for the tours, people who live there said that to me, that they were now looking at their own neighborhood from a different perspective, and I think that to me was even more rewarding, because I had reached out to people who either work or grew up in that neighborhood, and it made them realize how they take their own environment for granted, and how they need to come together more often. So getting ready for the tours was more rewarding, is hearing the comments from those who were getting ready to give the tours. But also afterwards, again, when people said that now they're going to stop and pull over and maybe walk around a little bit more, go back and have another empanada, or go back to shop for food at a restaurant, to shop for food at a grocery store that has food that they've always been looking for, or that they crave. So it's fulfilling, and even more what I had set out to do.